Welcome to Chicago Jazz Live, small group jazz from the city of big shoulders. Performances drawn from Chicago's deep pool of extraordinary jazz talent in an intimate setting, recorded in front of a live audience. It's a house concert in a club, and I'm your host, Steve Rashid. This week we welcome a most entertaining duet, Corky Siegel and Randy Sabien. The legendary blues pianist, harmonica master, vocalist, and composer Corky Siegel is a Chicago Blues Hall of Fame inductee, and violinist, pianist, and vocalist Randy Sabien was a frequent guest on A Prairie Home Companion in Austin City Limits. Corky and Randy have been friends for decades, and when they perform together, it's a delightful musical game of cat and mouse. So let's get to it. Let's join Corky Siegel and Randy Sabien on stage at Studio5 in Evanston, Illinois for Chicago Jazz Live.
In the evening I think of you. When the sun comes up in the morning through my window, I think of you. When the bluebird is singing or my telephone is ringing or I'm walking around or just driving through town, my mind ain't on anything new. I'm always thinking of you. Always thinking of you, darling. Always thinking of you, darling. Always thinking of you, darling. I'm always thinking of you, darling. Yes, I'm always thinking of you, no matter what I do. When I'm feeling fine or I'm feeling blue, I always think of you. When my cat is crawling on my window pane, when the snow is blowing or it's starting to rain, I just can't get you out of my brain. I'm always thinking of you. Always thinking of you, darling. 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 Well, you're always coming up in the conversation. Your face is always there, even if I change the station. I'm going to end up as a psychiatric patient. You're always right there on my mind. Always thinking of you, darling. up in the conversation. Your face is always there, even if I change the station. I'm going to end up as a psychiatric patient. You're always right there on my mind. I'm always singing of you, darling. Always thinking of you, darling. Well, when the moon shines down on my rooftop in the evening, I think of you. This is a song about where I was born and raised. It's called the Southwest Coast Blues. Got to turn this on first. Southwest coast of Lake Michigan, where the skyscrapers swaying and the pigeons are playing on the roof again. I'm selling ice cream bars, and it may take hours to get rich again. On the streets, on the sidewalks of the Southwest coast of Lake Michigan. On the southwest coast of Lake Michigan, and I ain't gonna leave you alone unless I get the itch again. Because I'm so happy just looking out the window with you, my friend, watching the cops chase the robbers up the southwest coast of Lake Michigan. Are splashing and the dead fish are flashing on the lake again, and the wind is a-shifting and the smog is drifting in on Chicagoland. And I've been sitting here thinking, I'm gonna have to be here to the very end, waiting for the palm trees to grow on the southwest coast of Lake Michigan. This was a George Carlin work that my wife and I toured with George, and he had one line that really stuck with us. Vous jadez, that feeling like you've never been there before. Say, I've seen that face before. Some particular time and place before. Well, I don't know. Could it be deja vu? Or just my imagination running away with you? Or just my imagination running away with you? I've seen those eyes before. Never been so hypnotized before. Well, is that you doing it voodoo? Or just my imagination running away with you? Or just my imagination running away with you? I guess we never met before. At least we never met as yet before. Well, you're so cool and I'm so free. How about you and your imagination running away with me? Well, you're so cool and I'm so free. How about you and your imagination running away with me? How about you and your imagination running away with...
She was a singer and performer whose career stretched from the swing era to The Wiz and The Cosby Show, recording with Coleman Hawkins, Count Basie, and Quincy Jones. I'm David Brent Johnson, inviting you to tune in for the best-known unknown in show business, Thelma Carpenter, this week on Nightlights.
I've got a man.
Wednesday night at 8 here on 90.9 FM, WDCB and WDCB.org.
You're listening to Chicago Jazz Live, small group jazz from the city of big shoulders, featuring Chicago's great jazz musicians in a live, intimate setting. I'm your host, Steve Rashid. Our performances at Studio5 in Evanston, Illinois are recorded for these broadcasts, and if you'd like to learn about our upcoming events, visit studio5.dance for details. This week we welcome the entertaining pairing of Corky Siegel and Randy Sabien. Blues legend Corky Siegel is dubbed a national treasure by Downbeat magazine, and Chicago magazine says he's a master of piano and harmonica, a superior entertainer, singer, and songwriter. He's a Chicago Blues Hall of Fame inductee and a Lifetime Achievement awardee, and as far as I'm concerned, a musical imp. Corky and his music make me grin from ear to ear. Randy Sabien is called The Past, Present, and Future of Jazz Violin by NPR's Jazz Profiles. He's been a frequent guest on A Prairie Home Companion and Austin City Limits. His instrumental skill on the violin, guitar, mandolin, and piano in the genres of jazz, country, and rock is legendary. Corky Siegel and Randy Sabien have been pals and colleagues for decades, and witnessing their onstage musical cat and mouse in person is absolutely delightful. It was a pleasure welcoming them both to Studio 5. Each week on Chicago Jazz Live, I spend a little time on stage talking with our artists, and this week is a great example of just how unstructured these conversations are. I was curious about the backstory of the friendship between Corky Siegel and Randy Sabien, and the whole discussion took a surprising turn. So let's take a listen. Tonight, I'm so excited to have Corky Siegel back. I haven't seen Corky in quite a while. Actually, no, I saw you this summer at the Folk Fest at Evanston.
Oh.
It was really a beautiful event there.
Wow.
At the WDCB, that other station tent. WBEZ tent.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
like
great.
These interviews because it reminds me of stuff that I've forgotten.
But anyway, it's always great to see you and always great to hear you. And Randy is...
Randy.
What a monstrous player you are, my friend.
Oh,
Holy
thank you.
cow.
Don't try to be monstrous. That sounds scary. Halloween.
I've known Corky now for quite a few years, and we won't go into long stories about how we met, but I met Randy, 2 hours ago, something like that?
Yeah.
How did you guys meet?
I met Corky. I was recording with Jim Post.
Jim Post?
Yeah,
Wow.
I was Jim Post's full-time sideman for 2.5 years.
Are you serious?
I'm serious, dead serious. And
We had post-traumatic stress disorder.
I get it.
In 1980, in the fall of 1980, Post and I recorded a live album together at Charlotte's Web in Rockford, Illinois.
Yes.
On Flying Fish Records, and Corky came and played harmonica on it, and that's when I officially met Corky and played with him.
Wow. So and I didn't know this was going to turn into anything about Jim Post, but I knew Jim quite well and recorded his Mark Twain and Laughing River record.
Oh, yeah.
And so we became pretty close because I worked with him a lot on that record. But did you plan that? Because
I did a bunch of tracks for him for some of the Mark Twain stuff and the Galena material.
Yeah.
And I don't remember. I know Howard Levy played on some of that.
Oh, yeah, right.
I don't remember which one of those shows I was involved in on the recording. I played with him for 2.5 years through June of 1983 when my first record came out on Flying Fish. In a Fog was my first. Came out on LP.
Oh, yeah, I remember
There's probably
those.
a copy sitting around WDCB somewhere.
Wow. So you two met through
Post.
Through Jim.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Did you work with Jim a lot, Corky?
Well, we played a lot of shows together.
Uh-huh.
Doing separate shows but together. And I thought he was like the greatest performer that ever lived.
He was a really dynamic performer. Yeah.
Jim was
And
a special guy.
what a voice!
But it was after 5 minutes with Jim, it was time to go because he was so intense and so But before he died, like a year before he died, he called me a lot and we talked a lot, and he really mellowed out and got really beautiful and said, "Hey, well, we should be talking about Randy, not Jim." Sorry.
Well, it's great to know. I mean, this whole small world thing, it kind of keeps happening. Every time I talk to people, the world isn't that large.
Well, let me say, because of what I said about Jim, the point that I'm making is that Randy is a special guy. He toured with Jim for 2.5 years. Mm-hmm. That is a special guy.
That just prepared me for touring with Corky.
Yeah. Bam.
It's so easy to tour with Corky.
Have you guys toured a lot? Have you guys toured a lot together?
Yes, we have. Corky called me up and asked me to do some shows with Chamber Blues on 9/10.
Really?
And then the next day was 9/11.
Yeah.
And we watched the towers go down that morning in Corky's apartment, and we were preparing to rehearse for the second day, which we did. We ended up rehearsing.
Yeah, we opened all the windows and rehearsed because we thought people were going to want to hear music.
Yeah.
And they thanked us for it.
I bet.
Yeah.
So I left Chicago that afternoon at rush hour to go back to northern Wisconsin. I was the only car on the toll road. It was eerie.
Yeah.
Rush hour. It was just one guy. They were probably following me when helicopters.
Right.
Yeah,
Who dares be on the road?
It was memorable.
Yeah.
And so that's when I started touring with Corky on a regular basis and working with Chamber Blues. We work as a duo. We've worked with a trio with different people. He puts different configurations together, and it's always interesting and different and fun, and it's just it's an education. Corky's a blues master, and he studied with the blues masters like Howlin' Wolf and Muddy Waters. And for me, I'm able to pretend that I'm studying with Howlin' Wolf because he studied with Howlin' Wolf, and I'm playing with Corky, and so it gives me a deep. It's like going to college, University of Blues through Corky.
I'm still pretending, Randy.
It is. It does feel like, because it is a direct link. I mean, it's not. I mean, the music in geologic terms is not that old. It's only 120, 30, 40 years old. Blues. When you go back to the real roots of it, and so you don't have to. It's only a few generations to get back to the inception.
Yeah, it hasn't been around long enough to be stifled like classical music, because when it's around long enough, people start getting the idea that there's a certain way you got to do it.
Right. Well, I always thought that this was a thought I had about jazz and classical music, but I think it's equally true for blues. Is that I always thought the classical music was a celebration of an ideal, and jazz and blues is a celebration of the individual. And so, I mean, I don't have to tell you guys, but in a couple notes, you can identify a player, and because every player has got a personality.
And we have a new classical music now. It's called tribute concerts. Because back then, my Hollywood would call, Randy, you know this, she'd call him trying to get a gig, and they'd say, "Oh, we're only doing classical music." And she'd say, "Oh, you mean you're only hiring bands that do cover tunes?"
Right.
So the tribute groups are now the new classical music. We're preserving the sounds of those groups.
Isn't that true? Wow, I never thought about it that way.
So we're going to do a tribute now for Corky Siegel and WDCB.
Okay, good. I'm going to be totally transparent here. Usually when I come out here, I sort of have a little bit of an internal clock, and I try to sort of know that I'd like to talk about a few things, but I don't like to go on too long because I want to get back to the music. I could be out here for a half an hour with you guys, and I don't for your sake, I don't want to.
I think it's been a half hour.
Oh, shoot. Does it feel like that to you?
No.
But for that's my way of saying I think I'm just going to leave the stage now and let you guys play some more music, because this is so much fun hearing you play. So thank you to both you guys. Thanks so much.
I can see you're still with me. You would tell me if that weren't true. You never let me down. You care for me just like you used to. But I've been wrong about some things in my life. Am I wrong about you? Oh, you never slip out on me like some other woman do. You never cheat on me. You don't expect to have your cake and eat it too. Oh, but I've been wrong about some things in my life. Am I wrong about you? cheat on me. You don't expect to have your cake and eat it too. Ah, but I've been wrong about some things in my life. Am I wrong about?
Turned up the thermostat, I can hardly breathe. If we don't open a window soon, man, I'm gonna have to leave. Sorry for the inconvenience, sometimes the truth is hard to see. Is it getting hot in here, or is it just me? So warm, babe, you're melting my ice. What I got to admit, sometimes it feels pretty nice. But if we don't cool things off between us, we'll all be drowning in the sea. Is it getting hot in here, or is it just me? Driving down this road together for such a very short time. It turns out it's easier to change the weather than it is to change our mind. come any closer, man, I can't stand the heat. Well, I hate to quit you, baby. You know this life has sure been sweet. Ah, but we need a new direction, people. We got to get back on our feet. Is it getting hot in here? Or is it just me? Is it getting hot in here? Or is it just me? Is it just me? Or you feel it too?
It's antique and modern jazz, blues and soul, also a little country, roots rock and pop. Our curated mix, plus a live genre blending but not bending set with New Orleans trombonist Corey Henry and the Treme Funktet on American Roots from PRX.
Thursdays at 7 p.m. on 90.9 FM WDCB and WDCB.org.
This is Chicago Jazz Live, small group jazz from the city of big shoulders, featuring Chicago's great jazz musicians in a live, intimate setting. I'm your host, Steve Rashid. Our shows are recorded at Studio5 in Evanston, Illinois, and you can find out more about our upcoming events at studio5.dance. This week we welcome the pairing of two old friends, Corky Siegel and Randy Sabien. Chicago Blues Hall of Fame inductee Corky Siegel is a pianist, harmonica master, vocalist, and composer. And Randy Sabien is a violinist, pianist, and vocalist who you may know from A Prairie Home Companion and Austin City Limits. Their decades-long friendship is very apparent in their music as they chase each other through each tune. So let's go back to the Studio 5 stage for more from Corky Siegel and Randy Sabien for Chicago Jazz Live.
This one will be the next offering in this show.
Can't argue with that.
Can't argue with that. Okay, good luck. I can't remember how it goes right now, but it'll come to me, I'm sure. Somebody's burning on my radio. Good thing I got the cruise control. I couldn't keep from tapping my toe. She got me laughing and a swerving down the highway, twirling my mustachio. Queen Ida of the Zydeco, cooking something on my radio. Louisiana gumbo with a little bit of rococo, a pump and a cardio, squishing all those little buttons in a row. Oh, my Creole beauty, the queen of Zydeco. Chicago in my bungalow, dancing akimbo to my stereo. She make me feel so real cheerio. I'm gonna offer her a quid pro quo. If I make you smile, can I be your one and only Romeo? Queen out of Zydeco, cooking something on my radio. Louisiana gumbo with a little bit of rococo, pompano accordio, squishing all those little buttons in a row. Ah, my Creole beauty, the queen of Zydeco. Cooking something on my radio. Louisiana gumbo with a little bit of rococo, a pumping her accordion, squishing all those little buttons in a row. Oh, my Creole beauty, the queen of the Zydeco, queen out of the Zydeco, cooking something on my radio. Louisiana gumbo with a little bit of rococo, pumping her accordion, squishing all those little buttons in her fro. Ah, my Creole beauty, the queen of the Zydeco. It's just fun starting it and getting to the end. Sometimes we do the tunes a little faster just so we could get them over with. Good luck. Okay. Something wrong, Drina, babe. You never been like this before. Something wrong, Drina, babe. You never been like this before. You tell me what is on your mind. Why do you treat me so? Why do you treat me so? You used to say trick things about me. Now you just put me down. You used to say sweet things about me. Now you just put me down. Why do I turn you off? Why can't I turn you on? Why can't I turn you, baby? Well, I just can't help but feel those vibrations. I just can't help but feel there's a lack of communication. Something wrong between us, babe. Why can't things be like they used to be? I can't imagine why you been so mean to me. Why you been so mean? Why?
You've been listening to Chicago Jazz Live, this week featuring Corky Siegel and Randy Sabien. Chicago Jazz Live was created by Steve Rashid, that's me, and is produced in partnership with WDCB, Chicago's home for jazz. Our show is recorded by Sam Fishkin, mixed by Woodside Avenue Music Productions in Evanston, Illinois, and is distributed through PRX, Public Radio Exchange. If you listen to our show and think, I would like to be in that room, well, you can do that. If you'd like to learn more about our upcoming events and how to attend them in person, visit studio5.dance for details. Studio5.dance. And as always, stay safe, be well, and thanks very much for listening.